In this video, I'll be showing you how to properly adjust your clutch for your 1990 Suzuki Katana GSX 750F. I've been seeing quite a few people make mistakes when adjusting their clutch, so in this video I'll be correcting any mistakes that I've seen online and just showing in general how to do it. And I'll be following a manual to do it correctly. For starters, this isn't like adjusting the brake line on your bicycle. There are quite a few parts that you actually need to adjust at once for it all to work together properly. These are all the tools that I'll be using for this process. This over here is a 12 millimeter, this is a 10, and I have a 10 millimeter on that one. So this isn't the original clutch lever, but it's going to function the exact same as yours. The first step you're going to want to do is to loosen this piece right over here, and then bring this one all the way in. So now that I have this piece all the way in, you'll see that I have quite a bit of play. Next, I'll show you how to route the clutch cable. The clutch cable goes through here, behind the bars, right in through here. And then over here where the carbs are, you'll have this piece right over here. I like to route it right through there. And then it just screws in right over here where we'll start our next step. Now over here, the first thing we'll do is we'll be loosening this nut right over here. Now that this is loose, and it's important to note it's a 12 millimeter, it's time to start tightening this piece so that there's some play in the motion of the actual mechanism right behind here. This up here is a 10 millimeter, and I'll just start tightening it down. Now that this mechanism is all the way down and you have plenty of play inside of there, I'm going to be removing this rubber piece. Now that I have access inside of here, I'm going to be loosening this nut right here. It's a 10 millimeter. Now that I have this nut backed out and nice and free playing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out this inner screw with a screwdriver about 2 or 3 turns. Now we can finally begin actually adjusting the clutch. Now what we're going to do is turn this screw back in, and you want to do it right until you feel a little bit of resistance. So I have just turned my screw in until the point of resistance. A common mistake is someone will over tighten this screw, they hit the point of resistance and then they keep going. If that happens, sometimes when you turn it out, the point of resistance now changes. How do you set it back to the original point? Very easy. Start the engine while in neutral, let it run for a few seconds, and the vibration tends to knock it back into its correct place. Now once you've hit that point of resistance and you're ready to start the next step, what you want to do is you turn it out between a quarter and half a turn out. As you can see, I have already done that. Now the next step is very important. You want to remember exactly where this screw is turned out to, and you begin turning this nut back in. Now I've already tightened down this nut, but you'll want to tighten it down just so it doesn't move. It doesn't have to be crazy tight. You don't want to damage anything. Now we're almost done. Now I can just throw this piece of rubber right back on here, and we'll begin this up here. So if you're unlucky, what will happen is you loosen this up too much, as well as the piece up there, and it'll disengage over here. What you want to do is you want to loosen it up just enough to where there's play inside of there and it's not directly holding it. I just loosened it up all the way just to show you this next step on how to do it. So you'll want to remove the entire shifter just so you can have access, and then every single one of these bolts you want to remove as well. So now that you have this entire mechanism released, what you'll want to do is reattach right in there, this piece right over here. I think it's also incredibly important to note, you do not, under any circumstance, want to take apart this mechanism over here. It is a huge pain to reassemble correctly, and there's little ball bearings that go inside of here that are insanely easy to lose. If you lose it, you're just gonna have to buy a whole new section of it. So don't take it apart under any circumstance. Now that this entire mechanism is back on, since you removed it, it's now time to readjust the clutch yet again, just to be safe. Now you'll want to redo all the steps that I showed earlier. That starts with loosening up this until there's a little bit of play back there, and then you're going to want to loosen the nut, loosen up this by about 2 or 3 turns, and then tighten it, hit the point of resistance, back it out a quarter to half a turn, I like right in the middle, and then tighten down the nut, make sure this is in the same location, and then we'll be back to readjusting the rest of the clutch. So now that this piece is all done and you're guaranteed that it's attached, now it's time to start backing this out. Now you'll want to first start backing this out, and we're going to be referencing it up there. Now when it comes to adjusting the actual clutch lever or the clutch cable, you're going to want to loosen that piece over there. As it comes up, you're going to have less and less play in this mechanism up here. The book says that you want about 4 millimeters of play. Personally, I like as little as you can get. That's all personal preference at the end of the day. So I've just finished adjusting mine, and I like to have mine right about here on this side, and you can see when I pull it in, there's a little bit of slack kind of like right there. That's the amount I like to have in here. You'll also notice when you pull it all the way back, there's a lot of tension on it. So you want to keep that in mind, because you do want it tight enough to actually engage somewhere around the middle point. Over here, I have mine backed out an insane amount. I think that's primarily because one of those ball bearings from earlier, I'm pretty sure I'm actually missing one of them. So mine is a little cockeyed. So mine has to come up a lot more just to make up for that difference. And another big thing after you've tightened everything down, like especially this part so it stops moving, and the same on the other side up there, is how you can test it. What I like to do is what I just did. I put the bike in neutral, I start the bike, and then I just pull in the clutch, shift down to first gear, and when it's on the center stand, the wheel can start moving free. So drop it into first gear and slowly pull out the clutch, and you'll see as the clutch is disengaged and the rear wheel starts to move. Once you have that going on, you can start to fine tune exactly where you want the clutch to engage and disengage right up here. I really hope my explanation helped you. If for whatever reason you would like the book explanation, here's the first section of it, and on the other side, here's the rest of it. Another final piece of advice I'd like to leave you guys with is the type of oil you're actually using in your bike. You don't want to use just normal car oil, because if you do, you're going to ruin your clutch. We use what's called a wet clutch in our Suzuki Katanas, and if you use normal car oil, it has so many additives and stuff in it that it's just going to destroy the clutch. So you have to use motorcycle specific oil for your bike. So this is going to be the last video I'll be making for quite a while. I'm about to start commercial for flight school, and that's going to take up a whole lot of my time. That being said though, if you guys have any questions, just post them in the comments and I'll definitely be able to help with that. And if you have any videos you'd like me to make in the future, post it in the comments as well, and I'll be able to get around to it one day.